Most people wake up in the morning and start thinking about their problems. These problems are linked to certain memories, which in turn are related to certain people and things. If the brain is like an old recorder that plays the same tape every day, then by the time you start the day, you're already thinking and living in the past. Each of your memories is connected to your emotions, and emotions are the end product of your past experiences. So, when you remember your problems, you suddenly feel unhappy, sad, and the pain resurfaces. The way you think and how you feel create your state of being. In other words, it shapes your character. If your state of being, when you start the day, is in the past, it means that your past, sooner or later, will become your future. For instance, something happened yesterday that made you angry. Today you wake up and think about it, and you feel angry again. If you keep doing this for another 2 days, people might think you're having a bad day. If you continue for a week, people might think you're in a bad mood. If you persist for a long time, anger will become part of your character, and you'll be known as a person who's always angry. So, as you can see, your thoughts have something to do with your destiny. This means that if you keep dwelling on the past, you'll keep creating the same life for yourself in the future, often without realizing it. You keep creating a life that you don't even like. That's usually how it happens. You wake up, grab your phone, open Instagram, and check WhatsApp. You read some emails or text messages, and then you browse the news. Now, you finally feel truly connected to everything that's familiar in your life. After that, you go through a series of behaviors. You get out of bed on the same side, go to the bathroom, have a cup of coffee in your favorite mug, take a shower, get dressed, and take the same bus or drive to work the same way. Finally, you start working and see the same people who always triggered the same emotional reactions. When your workday ends, you rush back home to do the same things all over again tomorrow. This becomes your routine, and routines function like a computer program. So now, it's like you've lost your free will to a program. It's no longer you who's calling the shots, but the program in your subconscious. 95% of who we are by the age of 35 is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, ingrained attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that operate automatically like a program. So, you might say with your conscious mind of 5%, I want to be happy, I want to be free, but the body is running on a different program. You're pitting 5% of your conscious mind against 95% of the subconscious mind. It's like putting an average skinny guy against an Olympic-level weightlifter in a weightlifting competition. No wonder you struggle to make significant changes and keep reverting to the old program, creating the same life. So, how do you start making changes? Well, you have to go beyond the analytical mind, because what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind is the analytical mind. And that's where meditation comes in. Through the practice of meditation, you can learn how to alter your brainwaves and slow them down. And when you do this correctly, you can access that operating system where you can start making fundamental changes. Most people wait for a crisis, trauma, illness, or diagnosis to start changing. Joe Dispenza's message is this: why wait for negative things to happen to learn and change? You can be forced to learn and change in a state of pain and suffering, or you can choose to learn and change in a state of joy and inspiration. Most people spend 70% of their lives in survival mode. They live stressed, always anticipating the worst scenario based on past experiences. Faced with the infinite potential in the quantum field, they literally choose negative things, selecting the worst possible outcome. It's like looking at a menu with a multitude of foods and drinks and choosing the worst option. This is what happens every time you remember a negative event. It produces the same chemistry in your brain as if the event were happening again. You're sending the same emotional signals to your body. In a way, your body is your unconscious mind, and it doesn't know the difference. It thinks the event is actually happening now. Most people are constantly recreating their negative emotional states by constantly thinking about them. So, when it comes time to let go of the negative emotion, they might say, I really want to change, but the problem is that the body is stronger than the mind. It has been conditioned to feel negative emotions for years. The body used to be a servant, but now it has become the master. Suddenly, when you decide to change and step into the unknown, the body doesn't like it. It prefers to feel guilt and suffering because that's what it finds familiar and can predict. The unknown is a scary place. Entering the unknown is like entering a deep river. The body knows that if you can make it to the other side of the river, it will die. It will do everything it can to stop you. That's why the moment you start to meditate, suddenly your nose starts itching, you remember an important task you had to do, or out of nowhere, you have a memory from 20 years ago. That's your body saying, let's give up and go back to our miserable life as always. The body has many tools and will use each one of them to prevent you from entering the unknown. However, the unknown is the best place to create your future, and the easiest way to enter it is through meditation. When you're in a deep meditative state, you can begin to create your future. What kind of new life do you want? What behaviors do you want to exhibit? What kind of person do you want to be? The act of closing your eyes and mentally rehearsing the things or behaviors you want in your life is the best way to create your future. If you're truly present, the brain won't know the difference between imagination and actual life experience. Through the act of imagination, you're installing the programs and software of your future life. Now, your brain is no longer a record of the past, it's a map to the future. And if you keep doing this, who knows, you might start acting like a happy person. The hardest part is emotionally teaching your body what the future will be like even before the actual experience. Simply imagining is not enough, you need to emotionally feel it in your body. If thoughts are the language of the brain, feelings are the language of the body. It's through feelings and emotions that your body understands what your mind is telling it. If you don't feel anything, it means your body isn't receiving the signal. It's like if the internet modem in your room is working, but you can't connect because you turned off your phone's Wi-Fi. The moment you start feeling the emotions of your thoughts, you connect to the internet, and now you can start downloading your future life. And you know what that means? It means you don't have to wait for success to feel successful. You don't have to wait for wealth to feel abundant. You don't have to wait for your new relationship to feel love. According to the quantum model of reality, the moment you start feeling abundant and worthy, you start walking toward your future now. This means you're becoming the creator of your future. You're no longer living as a victim and saying things like, I'm like this because of this person or that experience. Unfortunately, today, many people are victims of their own negative past thoughts. Most people don't realize, but here's the problem with these thoughts, just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's true. I'll repeat, just because you have a thought doesn't mean you should act on it. On average, you think 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. 90% of these thoughts are the same as the day before. If your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, then your life won't change much because the same thought leads to the same choices. The same choices lead to the same behavior, and the same behavior creates the same experience. The same experience produces the same emotion. That's why meditating is very important, so you can become more aware of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. The more aware you are, the less likely an unwanted thought will go unnoticed by your consciousness. The word meditation means familiarizing yourself. So, as you familiarize yourself with the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions of your old self, you no longer allow them to influence you. Instead, you begin to have new thoughts and conditionings. If you do this for long enough, this new emotional state will become familiar to you. Creating a new self is like creating a new garden. First, you have to get rid of the weeds and stones. Then, you need to remove last year's plants and prepare the soil. Only after that can you start planting. Meditation basically works the same way. You're preparing the garden, and it's not an easy job. Training your body to sit and meditate is like training a wild animal, a dog. You say, sit and wait here, but it runs away. So, you grab it and bring it back. But of course, it runs away again, and you grab it again and bring it back. The moment you start to meditate, your body says, hey, it's 8 o'clock, you usually read emails and get angry at this time, but here you are, sitting and doing nothing. You're not fulfilling what we've been doing for years, getting angry together at this moment, and now suddenly you're going to change like this? So, the body starts sending signals. The body is basically looking for that predictable chemical state and doesn't care that it's toxic. Every time you become aware of what your body is doing and bring your attention to the present moment, you're telling the body that it's no longer the master. Now, you are the mind, and now your will is becoming stronger than that previous subconscious program. If you keep doing this over and over, just like a trained dog, the body will sit and obey. The moment the body surrenders, there's a release of energy. You go from particle to wave, from matter to energy, and you free yourself from the chains of those emotions that keep you tied to the familiar past. If you do this for just 1 week, you'll already start to see differences in your life. You'll start to notice yourself and be more mindful of yourself more often and avoid going back to your old, unhappy self. Of course, you need to repeat the process long enough until the future reality becomes the present reality.